Okay everyone, you join us now inside of the 2025 Cadillac CT5, and of course we have this gorgeous new display over here. And I think the best way to kind of show off this 2025 CT5 in the premium luxury standpoint is to show off one of its latest and best standard features, Supercruise. And yes, I said standard. Really impressive option here. And what if you use the inbuilt Google navigation system? For example, here we put in the destination, press your route options here, and you will actually see a little Supercruise logo here on your route options here. So you can actually choose your route based off of how long it's going to Supercruise. So for this one, it'll say it's going to Supercruise for 14 minutes. This one can Supercruise as well for 14 minutes, but this one can only Supercruise for 9 minutes. So if you really want to take advantage of Supercruise, use the built-in Google navigation system here, and it's also going to give you the most fuel efficient trips as well. And we're going to see how well this thing can do on fuel economy on the highway. And of course, we can put these maps on our display over here as well, so you can have them right up in front of you, as well as over here, or if you want to display music or some other information over here, you can do so as well. So lots of versatility here, but let's go see how Supercruise works on the 2025 Cadillac CT5. Now, the 2025 CT5 is not superly different. It's really just a technology and visual package upgrade here, but it still has a great engine though and driving dynamics. And even if this is not the V Sport model, it still has a nice snap and crackle to this V6 engine here when you're kind of on it a little bit, on getting onto a highway, or just if you want to have some fun. So I really like the playfulness of this powertrain here, but we're already out here on the highway, and this is going to be testing out Cadillac's Supercruise with this built-in Google navigation system. You can already see the Supercruise symbol has popped up on our instrument cluster here, and all that means is I just pressed that same identical button on the steering wheel on our left-hand side, and it's activating, it's thinking, it's making sure it's safe, and there we go. I can drive hands-free on this highway here. Now, of course, you always do need to pay attention where you're going and make sure it's always safe, so I would keep your hands always steadily near the steering wheel, especially if you feel like there's a lot of cars around you. So yeah, so far so good. I've been using Supercruise now for this past year in a variety of different Cadillacs, and all of them have been pretty good. Now, one downside I would say is when you're not using Supercruise, the regular radar adaptive cruise lacks any sort of steering assistance. So all you really have is that pogo sticking motions going on with your lane keep assist, which is a little bit of an interesting feature. A lot of systems will still have that steering assist available to you when you're not in that full hands-free driving mode, but otherwise you can't complain here. Supercruise, it's been pretty good, and now it's also feeding off of data from all of the vehicles on the roads now that have Supercruise. It's improving itself. It's constantly growing to more and more highways, and even smaller highways that it never used to be available on. I've even noticed on this vehicle, just from driving my previous Cadillac with Supercruise tester just a few months ago, it's already increased its mapping database. So really impressive stuff. And you can see here, as long as you're keeping your eyes on the road, it will always really be watching out for you and driving pretty safely as well. You can also change in the settings the aggressiveness of Supercruise's acceleration as well as its lane change functions here. So right now we have it in its adaptive lane change system, where it kind of thinks automatically, it kind of thinks for you. So if it knows it wants to move over, it will do it for you. You can obviously cancel that at any time, but you can also turn that off completely through the settings if that you don't feel that's a comfortable feature for you. And then it'll be turning into a manual automatic lane change assist. So all I do is press my lane change button there, or turn signals, and it's changing lanes for you. And it actually does it quite quickly as well, and very smoothly. It will even do it on corners as well, which is a little bit scary at first, but here's a slight curve right now. You can see, make sure you're looking as well, but it will also check to see if there's a vehicle behind you. It will keep you in the curve as well. It's not going to feel like you're jumping lanes. So I really like that feature here. When you do encounter some fun roads like these, the CT5 can transform itself just a little bit to be a little bit more aggressive of a vehicle. Now, in terms of driving dynamics versus this and the CT5-V Sport, you know, there are some pretty big differences here. The CT5-V Sport, for example, has little bit more of aggressive transmission tuning, definitely more power and more aggressive engine tuning, and you're also getting stronger brakes and electronically limited slip rear differential, adaptive dampers. It's a pretty much almost different vehicle than this CT5 with this just down-rated version of the same engine. But nonetheless, the CT5 still has some really great dynamic bones to it. It can handle a corner pretty well. I think the all-wheel drive system does a generally good job at distributing power, though you're really going to want to extract all of the best out of the CT5's chassis in that V Sport and the V Blackwing models. That's really where I think the engineers hone down all of its capabilities to the best that they can. But here I still like that you get that nice raucous exhaust note from this engine. You're also getting those nice kind of snappy upshifts when you're really on it with this engine as well, with this 10-speed automatic gearbox here. So I like that you still have that here, which is pretty cool. So you get that little taste of that V DNA here. Now, this vehicle is a lot smoother on the road, though, I'd say, than the V Sport models. It kind of has a little bit of that Cadillac flow to it, though it still has a nice composed and almost heavy style driving experience. It feels luxury, it feels expensive, and it handles bumps generally quite well. The damping's pretty good. You can feel it a little bit, but you know, it's a stiffer vehicle than I would say a full-on luxury car like on the Mercedes end of it. I would say these CT5s are a little bit more sporty or tuned, even in this more luxury setting, maybe like a luxury BMW on that side of it. But otherwise, really good general driving dynamics. And in this class, there are not that many vehicles that have these really good solid driving dynamics. There's a lot of vehicles that are focused on luxury or just sport or have a little bit of a blend in between. CT5 blends it pretty well, and I think it's pretty much the only real American competitor left in this segment. Lincoln doesn't make any sedans, and even if they did, they would be all floaty and luxurious. Okay guys, we're still on Supercruise here and wrapping up this video. Well, CT5, I think this is a really well valued car, especially at this price point. And just for having Supercruise alone, this is a really fantastic feature for a lot of road trips. It's been pretty much working flawlessly here. And overall, I'm really impressed with this new screen that Cadillac has put in here. It's a great fitment, I think, of this vehicle. It doesn't look too tacky. I think it's well integrated into the dash and pretty functional as well at the end of the day. You have a lot of different customizable options, and there are not that many vehicles in the American segment in this class left. So I think the CT5 may not only be your only option if you want to stay with an American vehicle that truly is built in the US. It's a really fantastic option as well. And we've been going around just like 6 miles now, 22.6 mpg, but definitely that can go higher in like that 26, 27 range when you're a little bit further out on a longer stretch of road. But so far, so good. I'm really impressed with this car. And like I said, definitely check it out if you're interested in a vehicle in this segment, and if you really want to stick with a Cadillac and an American vehicle, as I so mentioned. Nonetheless, guys, thank you again for joining me on yet another video over here at Allcarnews, and as always, stay tuned for more coming soon.